on, guys? Welcome back to another podcast episode. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about face-offs. Face-offs are the number one most important part of a game. It starts every play. So we'll just be reinforcing and teaching things about face-offs, what it's like going into a draw, different assignments different players have. So yeah, we'll just be talking about stuff like that. The number one question I have for you is, as a coach, what do you want your players to be thinking about when they're going into a face-off?
Yeah. Um, I, I think it's super important for everybody to understand what their assignments are. So I think as a coaching staff, we usually try to make sure, like for every face off on the ice, that there are known assignments for everybody, right? So whether you're in the D zone, neutral zone, offensive zone, we want to make sure that everybody understands what we're trying to do as a team and what each individual assignment is, win or loss, right? There should really be no thinking about it. In hockey, this is the one time where everybody's in a spot and we're going to start the play, right? The rest of the game's super fluid, so you kind of gotta figure things out on the fly. But face-offs, like it's it should be pretty cut and dry what that assignment is, right? So typically, we're going to have our centers try to win that puck back and get possession right off the bat, right? So centers, when you're going into a draw, uh, first of all, everybody needs to know where you're trying to win that puck, right? So you're communicating before you get
Mm-hmm.
in. You played a lot of center,
Yep.
right? So we talk about trying to win the draw, win that draw clean, um, or however you need to win that draw. Maybe you can kind of share with people what it is, what kind of tricks you have, or maybe what your focus is when you go in on those draws.
All right, yeah. As a centerman, when I go into a draw, I'm always thinking of like positioning wise, what are the other players like? What are they doing? Like, what is their setup and stuff like that? What is the centerman setup? Where his stick is at? I'm always aggressive going into a draw. I try to win it clean by just turning my feet super sharp, being super aggressive, stuff like that. And I'm always thinking about like where the ref is going to drop the puck. Usually the ref drops the puck towards its feet. And yeah, I just want to be super physical and aggressive. And I'm always communicating with my players. I'm letting them know where I want them. I have different like names for different plays. And yeah, like stuff like that. So,
Yeah, you talked about strong and aggressive as a centerman.
mhm.
That kind of makes me think like we really stress that with all the positions, right? Especially the wings, who are typically up on the hash marks, depending on what face-off play you're running. Sometimes offensive zone they might not be there, defensive zone they might both be net front, right? But that physicality and that aggressiveness, I think, too often players are going into draws and they're just going to kind of wait and see what happens, right?
Yeah.
But I I like to, like, that mindset that you talked about. I think everybody should have that mindset, right? You want to win that position, right? It's all about getting position, making sure you don't get blocked out if you're a wing going out to block a shot, right? Um, you've played some wing too, right?
Yeah.
What do we talk about when guys are cheating a little bit because they're going to try to block you out, right? Do you remember what we've talked about in the
Yeah.
past on
If
that?
other players cheat, you cheat too. Like that's how it goes. That's like the rule basically. Don't
Yeah,
let them cheat off of you guys. Don't let them do that.
don't, don't get out cheated, right?
Yeah.
So we talk about knowing your assignment. Maybe we could talk a little bit about. Should we start with the D zone?
Yeah, well, we can talk about the D zone. I mean, that's like the most important part.
Yeah. So as a center, you're typically going to be trying to win it back
Yep,
to
to the
who?
corner.
To the corner,
Hmm.
and who's retrieving that puck out the corner?
Usually the D.
Yeah. And then from there, we have a couple of different things we do as a team, right?
Hmm.
So, and you see this all the way through all levels, but one of our main plays that we'll run is uh, winning it back to that defenseman, and he's just going to do a hard wrap out of the zone, basically, right? So,
Hmm.
who's
Well,
uh, who's retrieving that?
who's retrieving that? The wing. Usually, depends which side it's on, left wing or right wing, different sides. One of the wings will be slashing to that wall, and they'll be retrieving that puck. and then they'll just like chip it out for that other wing who's also slashing to the wall. But yeah, that's basically how it goes. We have different like names for it though. We have a name Sammy, and then we have a name Wally. Is that how it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like usually most of the time, our main thing is winning it back and going far side wall, just rimming it around the boards. That's usually our main play, but some teams will start to catch on to that in the middle of the game. So sometimes we do short side. That's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Strong side.
Strong side,
Yep.
yeah. And that's the nearest side of the boards where you just chip it up there as a demon, and then the wing slash and go get it. So yeah, that's basically our assignments as a wing and a D. Yeah,
Yeah. And I think, one thing that's nice about a face off like that, we talk about having a plan, win or loss, right? So if we're losing the draw in the D zone, where are those wings going anyway? They're going up, right?
yeah,
They're going to go put pressure on those defensemen with any standard kind of structure to your D zone. So those wings are already on that path. They're going to check, get a jump. Don't get out cheated, right? You
hmm
said, right? So they're getting a jump right away, and then they're able to kind of see, did we win or did we lose? And if we win, they can kind of change their route and make sure they're first to the puck. If it's wrapped or if we're going to put it up the strong side, they can get position on that defenseman and make sure they touch the puck first, right? And by doing that, then that should allow us to get out of the zone.
yeah. But like yeah, for sure. Defensive zone. That's like a very important play of the game. It's super important. You don't want them to win the puck. Like things go wrong there. So other than defensive zone, let's talk about like offensive zone.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we have different plays for offensive zone. Again, I have different names for different plays. Yeah, so let's just talk about like what is our main focus on when going into a draw in the offensive zone.
yeah. Well, again, win or loss, we want to plan, right? So, in the case where you're winning that puck, we're typically either going to have position a shooter as a wing, or we're going to actually try to feed our defenseman right from the draw, right? And from there, I like to think about making sure that we find a shooting lane, right, to deliver the puck to the net. That might require a pass or maybe to walk the blue line a little bit as a defenseman. Um, the other thing then is the wing that's on the inside of the ice. We want him. He's the closest one to net front, right? So we want him to be able to take the goalie's eyes away, create some traffic in front, maybe a tip, maybe a screen, maybe a dirty rebound, dirty Gino, right? So um, making sure that that wing is fighting for position right off the bat,
Yeah,
right? We also talk about like 50-50 pucks, right? So you as a center, if you don't win it clean, you're going to try to tie that guy up, right? Maybe you're going to use your feet. Maybe you're tied up. Maybe that puck's sitting there. We call that a 50-50 puck, right?
yeah, but
So,
then when the puck is sitting there like that, the wing on the boards usually comes behind and takes that puck, and he can either chip it back to his D or he can get it into the net and rip a shot like that.
yeah, I like it, man. That's a good way to go into it with a plan like that. What if we lose that draw?
Yeah,
Who's you got to know as a coach or as a team who's going to pressure that puck, right? So we talked about our defensive zone. They're probably trying to do the same thing, right? So they're going to win it back to the corner, probably.
hmm
So making sure now, in our case, a lot of times what we're playing is that inside wing is going to put pressure on, right? They're going to try to keep from that team being able to get out the weak side. And that's where having a really good jump right away. Don't get cheated. That wing can go put pressure on right away on a loss. I'm going to ask you a
Yeah.
question as a player, though, especially as a centerman. What if the guy you're going up against has won like 3 or 4 draws in a row? What might you do different?
Um, Usually I like to get a lot more aggressive, get a lot lower. I'm usually picking their stick now, stuff like that. I'm trying new things, and usually once I fail once, I'm just gonna keep continuing doing that
Yeah.
stuff.
So you're not trying to win that puck clean anymore after
No,
he's beaten you a few times.
yeah,
You're gonna actually just pick his stick.
hmm
I like it.
yeah,
Right on.
yeah. So I got a couple more questions for you. As a coach, what do you want guys to be doing in the neutral zone? Like it's different. Like it's definitely different in the neutral zone. I know it starts usually like offside stuff like that, but it's like it's different. You know, it's not like offensive zone, defensive zone stuff.
I mean, I
Yeah, it's a
I
lot
think every coach is going to have a different game plan there, right? I think for us, when we're on the offsides dots, like what we ran this year is in if we lose that puck, both those wings are going to shoot hard and pressure those defensemen. So again, that's where you're not waiting. You're not getting out cheated. You got to be physical. You got to be aggressive. You're trying to win that inside lane, uh, win that position. Don't let their wings box you out. Right, centers stay with centers, and then D. I think we didn't stress this a lot this year with our age group, but as you get older, what I like to see those D do is they're scanning right on a loss, and they're going to make sure they know where the pass options are. And they're gonna start gapping up right away, and not being flat footed. So uh, get up, take away their space.
Yeah, for sure. You know what's like kind of interesting? Like when we usually start a game, we have different like plays and stuff like that. Do you like remember any plays when we start a period or a game?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple that stick out in my head that I like to do. I think sometimes it's kind of and the whole idea there is just to like try to try to hit them in the teeth right away, right?
Mm,
So just from the opening draw, do something fun, do something a little bit aggressive, not where you're going to give up a breakaway,
yeah.
but we actually will swap the D with the wings, right? And the other team maybe doesn't recognize that. Maybe they haven't scouted you. They don't know who usually plays forward or D. And by doing that, you can actually have your wings who are now back in the D spots. They can go toes right on the circle. So like get right up on that circle, and then that center is just gonna pick pick the stick right
Mhm.
away, and he's creating a 50-50 puck. And what happens is those wings now just blow right through, and they can grab that puck, right? And they might have a chance to split their D because they're flat-footed. They're really not. They're not expecting the defenseman, right, to blow through and just try to go in on a
Yeah.
breakaway. So that's one.
Sometimes we like try to as a center, you try to like push it towards the wall, and then the
Yeah,
wings go get it,
yeah,
stuff like that. Or you try to like just like pick their stick and leave it behind them, and then yeah, like you said, they will go up. The wings will rush up and get the puck from
yeah.
behind you.
I think the important thing there is if you're going to do something aggressive like that, the players know who the safety valves are, right? Who are the
Yeah.
safety guys, right? So if
Yep.
the D have gone up to the hash marks, they're they got to know like we're not going past the red line.
They
We're
gotta drop back.
yeah, we're shoulder on shoulder with the wing, and then we're dropping back,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. Plays like that. That's just like a fun way to start the game. It sets them off their toes, and yeah, stuff like that.
I like it.
What else do you think is so important about like face-offs?
I think just that aggressiveness, right? Um, Far too many, especially at the younger levels, like kids, they they don't have that aggression right away, and I
Yeah, they
think
just wait. Like they
yeah,
just wait for things to happen. Like you're not supposed to do that.
yeah, don't wait to see what's gonna happen. Like be prepared. You're gonna take a route right away. You're gonna win your space right away, and then you can react. But if you just stand there and react, you're probably not gonna win the lane. You're probably not gonna win the space, right? So just being ready. We talk about face off ready. Be face off ready, because you don't get a second chance, right?
No.
And we wanna. It's all about getting the puck.
Yeah, once you get the puck, it's a breakout. Like breakouts, once you break it out of the zone, or yeah, like stuff like that.
Yeah,
That's
or a
basically
scoring opportunity,
that's how
right?
you start it. Like, that's
Yeah.
basically what face-offs are. They're like the most important part of the game. You have to have the right mindset. You have to know your assignment, your job when you go into a face-off. Like we said, we stated our jobs as a team, what we usually do. But for you guys, your guys' coaching, it's gonna be a little bit different. So just think about what your job is and actually apply that to your game. So yeah, I think that's basically
All right, let's wrap it.
thank you guys for watching this podcast episode. I really enjoyed making this one. It was fun to talk about. I mean, it's the most important topic in hockey. But I hope you guys learned a little bit of something and keep throwing your guys' ideas in. Comment down below what topics you guys would like to see. But other than that, we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.